Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, together with my co-host Mark Ronich of Statewide News Service, and for over 30 years reporting on the Capital District.
That's right, and mainly politics and government at the Capitol. But so when we talk about politics and government, something very important is law enforcement. And our guest today is the Rensselaer County Sheriff, Pat Russo. So welcome to the Jewish View.
Thank you
We
very
also
much.
have the Deputy Sheriff, Justin Walred, and he's from Hoosick Falls, and but a Rensselaer County Deputy Sheriff. And we have a special guest with him. We have the K-9 Garen, who's part of the Advanced Narcotics Patrol. So why don't you see if Garen
Take a bow.
Take a bow.
can
Here, how about?
There you go.
There's Garen. There you go.
Good boy.
All right,
See
Good
you.
one over
Very
here.
nice.
So special guest star.
Pleasure for
So-
having us.
Oh, thank you for coming and being so patient. Sheriff, tell us what your office does, because every sheriff's office is a little bit something different. You know, they don't all do the same thing. But tell us what goes on in Rensselaer County.
Well, basically, we have three bureaus, one being our correctional bureau, one being our civil bureau, and the other one being our highway patrol. So our civil bureau would handle all judgment, garnishes, and all civil process, naturally. And our correctional facility, we have a correctional facility that could hold up to 470 inmates. We average about 275 a day, and we out of that 275, 100 of them on average are federal inmates that the United States Marshals house in our facility.
Oh, is that a testament to your efforts, not just yours, but local law enforcement efforts, that you have so few inmates, 175 within the county that aren't federal? And then, you know, well, I mean, it seems like you built expecting a rash of something, a crime going on. I don't know what.
Well, a few years back, prior to our expansion, it was costing the county about $2.5 million a year to house out our prisoners to other counties. We put the expansion on, and last year in revenue, we probably brought in $3 million in revenue.
Because of the federal inmates.
Because of the federal inmates. And there were some other jails that.
Actually, I visited Rensselaer County. I was the outside, not the inside. You know, as a rabbi, one of my 10 jobs, but some Jewish person came from the Canadian border. It was a federal crime, whatever, and therefore they wanted me to visit him, and I did. Hey, you got a nice facility there. It's nice and modern. I don't know if I want to live
Thank
there.
you very much. You know, we get compliments on it quite often, but people who do tours.
And you said there was a third department.
And that's our highway patrol.
Highway Patrol. And is that where Justin comes in?
That's where Justin comes in.
So, Justin, why don't you tell us what your experiences have been? How long have you been on the force, and how old are you? And
I'm 32 years young. I
young,
started.
yes.
I started with the sheriff's office in 2009, and I actually started in the corrections bureau. And I spent from 2009 to 2014 in the corrections, and then in 2014 I made the transition to come out to the highway patrol and to start patrol the county more. Instead of just from one side of the law enforcement spectrum of the correctional aspect to now the interaction with the public and enforcing the laws.
And what's that been like? What has that experience been like for you?
It was the best decision I ever made.
Really?
It was.
It's feast or famine? Do you get bored? Do you...
Well, currently I'm assigned to midnights with the K-9 partner. We're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So anytime anything comes up or arises, they'll give us a call, we're available. On midnight shift, it goes from quiet nights to some nights like last night where it was just one call after another.
Really? Wow. And I understand now, Garen's part of the Advanced Narcotics Patrol, and I know that the opioid and heroin is a big problem throughout the state.
Mark and I have had practically every sheriff, can we say that, and every DA around the Capital District, they all, and I always ask the one question, I guess I could ask you also, what's the number one crime that you have to deal with? And usually they say it's just
but the opioid...
The drugs.
Yeah, it's opioid and narcotics. Is that the number one issue?
Opiates are becoming a big epidemic. People are getting the opioids through prescription medication or through experimentation. And that thing is a demon in itself. When they start cutting it with fentanyl and other compounds, then it becomes very toxic, very potent, and lethal in most cases.
Well, I just heard recently that the heroin is being laced with fentanyl, and that's, you know, I guess that makes it more potent where even Narcan can't help. Is
Do you
that
have a
true?
Narcan on you constantly? I mean,
We all do. I carry a Narcan especially for my partner, because you can administer Narcan to a canine. So he has his own set of Narcan, and being
I mean, if he why would he need it? If he sniffs some heroin?
absolutely.
And he could really get into a seizure because of that?
Yes, the dog will overdose pretty quickly.
Do you have it on you now?
No, it's when I do my patrol, I carry it. It's
Oh.
2 little intranasal sprays.
I see.
We used to have it an injectable, but now we use the intranasal.
Well, you look like you have a bat belt on you. You know, what are some of those, besides, what are some of the apparatus you have on your waist there?
Let's start here. 2 pistol magazines. On my leg would be my pistol.
Are you allowed to show us the pistol, or you can't take it out of the holster?
It's chambered right now. There's one in
Okay.
the chamber.
Oh, okay.
It's a
So
Glock
you
40
can't-
caliber.
Okay. It's a what?
A Glock 40 caliber.
Okay. Is that state of the art?
They are used by many police forces in the United States. Glock is a very reliable handgun,
Okay.
made in Austria. Of course, the handcuffs. On the back, I have pepper spray.
I mean,
And-
of course, the handcuffs.
Well, you need the handcuffs as part of the job. So it goes baton here,
Yeah.
extendable baton, the pepper spray. Over here to, of course, the radio, flashlight. We all carry tourniquets. Sadie.
That's all right. He's good.
So tourniquet for ourselves. We are all issued kits, or if we ever sustain a gunshot wound or massive trauma, kits to stop the bleeding.
Oh.
So this is part of the kit here, these tourniquets.
And in your training to be a deputy sheriff, you know how to, they teach you how to apply the tourniquet. I mean, you even though you're in such pain, if you were shot, God forbid, if you were shot, you would be able to do that yourself?
Through the police academy, they teach it muscle memory, where they'll just come up to you and they'll slap you and say, okay, you just been shot. Or they'll turn the lights off, or
Yeah.
they just get used to doing the same motions, different extremities.
Okay.
And we're fortunate enough at our department to be sent to different active shooter trainings, where it's active shooter and also your medical skills to deal with, if anybody was to be injured, you could treat the civilian population as well as any of your partners.
And what's the yellow thing?
This is a taser. This is the taser.
Well, that you could take
X26.
out and show, right?
Yeah, I suppose we could.
It's not so.
So this is a taser X26P,
Okay.
I believe. It's a new model.
It's a new model, yeah? It's more effective, or what's new? What would be wrong with the old model?
Well, the old model worked great. I believe Taser stopped manufacturing them, so they have upgraded to these
I
new
see.
ones.
I see. Just another way to spend money. Okay, that's the way I look at it. If the old ones were good, you see these Weight Watcher commercials that say our new plan is 15% more effective. Well, then what about the old plan? Was it crap?
Right,
So anyway, I find it ironic that they stopped manufacturing the old taser just so that all these law enforcement
Sheriff,
could.
the biggest city, of course, is Troy in Rensselaer County. That's where you leave it to the Troy Police Department, or that's really not your territory?
No, Troy, I actually served 28 years on the Troy Police Department before I went to the
Really?
sheriff's office.
And you live in Troy now.
And I live in Troy, yeah. But no, Troy patrols their own city. I mean, we will on occasion go into the city if they need assistance. Some situations where they were busy with calls, we would go in and answer their regular calls for them while they were taking care of emergency situations, where they had the officers shot that time up in Lansingburg. So we work well with Troy, We're constantly working with their narcotic unit, so we have a good working
They have their own
relationship.
unit also, or they sometimes call you in? They have their own dogs, for example?
They have their own dogs. Troy has their own dogs, and they have their own narcotic unit, and we'll work alongside of them.
Yeah, because what if someone runs away from Troy to, the
towns.
the middle
Oh, right,
of the
right,
town,
yeah,
so
yeah.
then they,
And we've used their dogs out in the county too, like we've asked them for assistance if we have something going where we need a few dogs. So, it's all networking. I mean, all the different agencies, what one another has, everybody's tools. When an emergency happens, you call on who you have to call on to get the job done.
How many years young are you?
I will be 65 this year.
Okay, and you're running for re-election?
Now, I just completed 1 year of my first term. So I'm
Okay.
in my second year of my first term. So I
So
have
is this your,
year and
is
2
this
more
your dream
years.
job? Is this what you've always hoped it would be? What's your experience been like?
Well, it's a job, it's a very rewarding job, it's a job that I enjoy. I don't know if I ever envisioned myself as being a sheriff. Sometimes I didn't even envision myself as being a police officer, but like I said, I'm in my 41st year as a police officer.
Right.
And it's been a rewarding career. And I think, if you take the job for the right reason, you want to help people, I think every time you do that, it's like a payday when you do that, because it's very rewarding when you get an opportunity to help somebody who's injured or less fortunate than you. So,
And that's the good side of your job.
That's the good side.
What's
yeah.
the tough part of your job that you, over 41 years, that you, that's seared in your memory?
Well, the tough part, and for a lot of police officers, it does take a little toll on your family life, because you are working different shifts, you are missing ball games, you are missing birthday
Time with the
parties,
kids,
time
yeah.
with the kids. There are some moments where nobody wants to go tell somebody that their child was killed in an automobile accident, or you see a bad fire where people die in fire. But you keep it all in perspective, and it is the job. You take the good with the bad, but.
I think that's an important point for the public also, because, everybody, you see cops and robbers, you're the tough guys, and obviously you have to be tough and robbers, but the other side is like what you're saying, it's just very interesting that, it's for the good of the community. So, I know that, for our people also, that you work out and tell them, you're friendly, even the dog is not like a killer dog, or,
Right.
I'm saying, I'm sure it could do a lot of damage if it wanted to. But on the other hand, the dogs come and to the kids and they can pet them, or the police do nice things, and.
It's supposed to break down the wall that the kids or just the average citizen shouldn't fear the badge, that they should be more welcoming. Tom Constantine, who was the state police superintendent for many years, would say, don't, if you need help, come to us.
Right.
Don't be
Right.
afraid of us.
Right.
And he would tell all the troopers that, be more friendly. And it was sort of a new way of thinking at that time in the 80s. So I just think, is that the message that you have?
It is, and one of the things when I
you back
became
him up,
sheriff,
that's the message he has?
Well, absolutely.
Okay.
We're all people.
I wanted to bring the department more out in the community more than we were. So we do attend a lot of events, and I think it's important because, number one, you can put your finger on the pulse of what's going on out there. You have people come up and tell you their problems. But like you were saying earlier, Mark, you build that bridge between the community, the children, and the police, and you show them we're there to help, And it really, we have a great response from our seniors. We go out and do senior safe programs. We were out at probably 65 children events last year with our Safe Child program, and parents and children are always coming up to us. So I think that's up to us to make that happen.
Yeah, sure.
And that's one of my goals.
And your predecessor was what, Jack Mahar?
Jack Mahar, yeah.
And did he do that also, or did you have to?
I think I moved it out into the community more. We had some programs, but I know I attend a lot of events and try to get out to the community as much as I can.
As sheriff, do you have do you find it humbling, or what do you find that electioneering process like for you? That you have to go door to door, you have to collect petition signatures, you got to ask people for this, that, and people say, oh, you remember me, I'm signing your petition, if I get into trouble, you remember me, or something. Or do you just let the committeemen and other the stalwarts of the party take on the role for you?
Well, I've only been through that once.
Yeah, that's
I've
why I'm
only been
asking,
once.
yeah.
And I don't believe politics and police work mixes, but the sheriff's office is an elected office, so you have to get out there. There's two things that I hate to do that politicians need to do. Number one, I hate to ask for money, which when you have fundraisers, you're reaching out for people, so you'll be able to fund your campaign. And the other thing is I hate to take credit for a lot of things that a bunch of people put together. Sometimes I'll come up with an idea, but if it wasn't for the hardworking people around me, like Justin here and the other deputies and the other corrections officers, would never get done. So I mean, and then naturally the credit comes to the sheriff, you know. But I mean, I always look at it as teamwork. You know, anything I've done in my life wasn't just me doing it, it was the people I had
No,
around me.
but let's face it. I mean, you're the titular head. I mean, and you're the face of the department. And if something went wrong, you know, you're not going to put the blame on someone else. So you really should take the credit when something goes right. I mean, it really shouldn't be. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Any leader of a company, of a corporation, if you're going to do something correctly, you take the credit as the leader. I mean, yes, you acknowledge everyone else that helped. But you know, that's an example of your leadership, of success of your leadership, and it should be acknowledged that way.
Well, I appreciate
You know,
that, but
so-
it'll take me a little while to get used to that.
I know that's what you didn't like about it, you know. But that's, am I right, Justin? I mean,
It's true.
You know, what about well, on the highway patrol? I mean, Rensselaer County has how many highways that you patrol?
Well, we have about 664 square miles.
No, but how many actual highways do you have then?
Well, I mean, it's called highway patrol, but they're county roads.
They're county
and-
roads,
yeah, county
okay.
roads and- But some officers call it road patrol, some officers call it highway patrol.
Do you
But-
do I-90? I mean, that goes.
We
through-
could go on I-90, but we
But you
don't. We
don't.
don't
You leave
go
that
on
to the
I-90.
troopers.
Right.
Okay,
right.
good. Okay.
Yeah. We try not to duplicate services, you know, and being.
Very good. Well,
So try to get out in areas that, you know, really cars don't get out in a long time. We have a small road patrol, but I'm
Of
very
how-
impressed with the amount of work our guys do with
How
the
many
amount of
people are on your road patrol?
In the actual highway patrol division, there's probably 30 people, but that includes our investigators, 2 narcotic investigators. We have 2 administrative sergeants. So we have about 18 uniformed deputies to split up.
And
the
what's the
shifts.
size? How many deputies do you have, or how many employees do you have that you oversee? Civilian or law enforcement?
Well, on the correctional side, there's 171 sworn and 20 civilians, maybe 20 civilians. And then the Civil Bureau has another probably 4 civilians, Highway Patrol 30. So you're looking at, quick math here, you're looking at about 225 maybe?
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah.
So are you at full capacity? Do you feel a need that you have some spots you need to fill? And is there a job I should apply for?
I believe we're down, our corrections officers, we plan on hiring, I think we're gonna be hiring 8 in the next month or so, you know, but there's a turnover there. Sometimes corrections officers will take the deputy sheriff's test and they'll get an opportunity to move from corrections to the deputy sheriff highway side. And I think that's good. We like to hire from within if we can, because I believe that if you work in a jail, you're gonna be a better communicator than somebody just coming off the street. Because if you can deal with the inmates in the jail, then you can deal with somebody out on the street. So I like to see us hire
But
from
where's the
within.
training? Like, for example, someone wants to be a correction officer, Rensselaer County, you have your own place, or I just know, again, the state more than anything, they have their training academy.
Well, Justin mentioned the police academy earlier,
Well, I've went through both. I went through the Corrections Academy and also the Police Academy.
because you didn't know whether you wanted to be part of the state corrections or...
Well, as Sheriff Russo said, I started in actually the Rensselaer County Jail. So I stayed in-house.
But you were trained by the state, though? That's a state training academy?
No, it's mandated, it's oversaw by a state sanctioned, and we can have it in our in-house. Sometimes we even bring in other counties and we'll train them in.
So you do your own training?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so where do you train, where's your, like the state academy is on, New Scotland Avenue there.
Right.
Where's your training academy?
Ours would be right at the facility for the corrections.
Which facility?
Right at our facility, or if another facility would host it. There are other correctional facilities that would host it. Like we will be putting on, I think we're gonna be hiring 8. We'll probably run a correctional school at our.
At the jail?
At the jail.
At the jail, okay.
The deputy sheriff training is run over in Schenectady at the Zone 5 Law Enforcement Academy, which takes in, I'm just shooting from my hip area, I wanna say about 70 different police departments.
It does,
And that's a
yeah.
26-week school, and so, but that's what we'll do, we'll train our corrections officers in-house or in another county.
And it's a 6-month training
It's, for the deputy
for
sheriff.
the
it's
deputy.
6 months.
And for correction officers?
It's a 4-week or 8-week?
I believe it's 8 to 10 weeks, I believe.
8 to 10 weeks.
Okay.
Do you find a lot of armed forces people? I mean, when they come out, they know how to shoot, or police, MPs. You know, they're half trained, I guess,
Yeah,
to be a
yeah.
policeman or someone like that.
I think and a lot of times they're used to military structure, so, you know, they're used to chain of command or whatever. But we do get a lot of applicants, you know, in the military, you know, and it's good if you can get somebody. We have to follow civil service law, so we can only go 1 in 3. You know, we can take 1 out of the top 3, and then and if you get into a certain block of, like if you get into the 80s, then everybody in the 80s are eligible, so.
But but of the top 3, if 2 people say, of the top, they say, no, I don't want, I just took the test for the heck of it, I don't really want to do this now, you can break that and then go to the
Yes,
rest
what we
of the
do
list.
is we have them send us a letter of intent, which will go to civil service and say, you know, it's by the time we decide to hire, and then by the time we get all through the steps, whether it be the interview, the psychological, the medical, it takes a little while to get all the ducks in a row before we hire.
Psychological is very important, I'm
Yeah,
finding
yeah, oh, yeah,
more and
yeah,
more as
yeah.
we hear more and more stories about this. How is social media and how has advanced technology, you have video phone at the jail now? How has technology advanced and helped your efforts?
It has advanced, helped a little bit. It's expensive. Everything you do with technology is expensive. I don't think our video visitation did as well as expected. I know when Sheriff Mahar brought it in, they expected to make a lot more money from it than they did. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, but you didn't bring it in as a revenue raiser, did you?
No. But it costs, you know, when you're trying to sell that to the county legislature, like we have to spend this much money, then you want to be able to show them, well, it's going to make this much money. But it didn't meet those expectations. But, you know, social media, I have a Facebook page. I have one of my investigators run my Facebook page because I don't know how to do it, basically. And, you know, I'm very computer illiterate. And, but, you know, social media today, I mean, there's things on there. When we're looking for bad guys, we go out and we look and see what's on their Facebook. Or even today when you're hiring somebody, and people don't realize how the Facebook can come back to bite them, because, you know, you go on Facebook and you're at a party and you're holding a beer, and then you're going to look for a job and somebody goes on Facebook and sees that, they can hold it against you, you know.
Oh, no,
So,
they really do.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
found out through Googling someone's name that they were in the state prison system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, who knew, right? And it was 20 years ago, but still, it was something that surprised me, and I approached him about it and asked him, but
You know, that's something
you know, that's
interesting
something private,
because
you
I
know,
know
but-
Albany County is pushing for, let's say, you know, what do they call it, nickname that you don't have to tell them you're a felon when you go for a
Oh,
job.
ban the box.
Yeah.
Ban the box.
Do you support that?
I mean, that's Albany,
I
but,
think that you should, if you're going to hire somebody, you should be able to know what their background is. I mean,
Yeah,
I think-
but ahead of time, before you do the interviewing and the hiring, because they say that you should know after you've hired the person. Like while they're on 6-month probation, that's what ban the box is, that it's not something you should consider during the interview process, but after the hire.
It's something I would want to know during the interview process.
I
If
see.
I'm going to hire somebody, I'd want to know their background. Because, and especially in civil service today, it's very difficult to get rid of somebody once they jump on the wagon, you know. And a lot of situations where it should be cut and dry, it's not always that simple, you know. So it is good protection. But I think if I'm going to hire somebody, I want to know that I'm getting the best person, and that person is going to basically think along the lines of our organization wants them to think. you know.
So that's important, to be all on the same page and to be of the same
Well,
mindset.
surely in law enforcement, you want someone to be up and up. I mean, you know, it's
What,
not just some secretary or
Justin,
something.
on the road patrol, what's your biggest fear when you approach a car?
What's the unknown? You have no idea who it is, what they've done, you know, if it's stolen, what they're hiding, what their emotional state is. It could be something very simple, but they could have something going on at home, family issues, maybe loss of a loved one, and you know that could all come to a head with the added stress of a traffic stop. So, you know, the traffic stops there, you never know what you're gonna get. You know, a very simple traffic stop for like a violation of a light or an inspection could pan out to be something for a wanted person or a gun
Or drug possession.
or drug possession.
No, and that's something that you take your life in your hands every time you approach a car, right?
We do every time, you know.
Well,
we
you
get
have to
dressed.
think that way, at
Exactly.
least, you know.
You be very, very tactful in what you do, and it's
Because I noticed that the trooper or, well, I mean, not that I've stopped so many times, but that they come right up to like the front, the front of the back door.
the B pillar.
The B pillar, is that what you call it?
Almost where your seatbelt goes, right?
Right.
Back there.
And then they just talk to you, like, give me your license and registration, or do you know why I pulled you over? But they're like behind you, like they're not, you know, is that training? Is that?
It's all
like-
training. You get a good vantage point. You have a good reactionary distance. You know, in order for you, most people are right-handed, but to go across, you're gonna make a big, large movement. So you have time to get away. You have some metal between you and the person who's trying to harm you.
Well, did you ever have a harrowing experience you could share with us? Or?
Well,
I like the harrowing experiences better.
everybody does, but they are few and far between. When, you know, we did a traffic stop on Hoosick Road, Route 7, and the young man was very nervous. He had a bunch of like peculiar things in the back, almost like a sword, a security shirt, some camouflage stuff along those lines. And I asked for license and registration. He gives me the license. Very nervous. I said, "There's another registration." I said, "Well, they usually keep them in the glove box. You take a look." So my partner was on the other side of the car, and he reaches over and he hits the release, and it made a big thud. Now, usually a glove box doesn't make that big thud. You can just see the silver part of a handgun in the glove box sticking out. So we got him out of the car, and my partner secured that. It was a replica firearm. And we asked him why he kept it there. He said to keep it safe. Who keeps a very valuable, prized possession in their glove box?
But it couldn't have been used. It was a replica, meaning
It was
it's just for show.
It was just for show.
Yeah,
It
that's
looked
right.
exactly like a functioning, and the hammer cocked back, the cylinder
Yeah.
was revolved. It just would not fire around.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
you don't know that.
You don't know that, right? So that was, you know, when you write up the report, did you arrest him? Was there anything to arrest him for, or was it just precaution?
Nothing to arrest him for.
No, okay.
Actually, it took us a little bit to determine that it was a replica. My partner was a firearms instructor, and he inspected it, and then we determined that it was a replica, and we returned it to him when he was on his way. We advised him not to put it in his glove box, to keep it in the trunk of his car, and not to travel around with it. But legally, he didn't do anything illegal.
Okay. So I keep my registration in the console of my car. So when they say, give me a license, I say to the officer, you know, and this is something everyone should do, I think, is that they say, look, I'm going into my console of the car here. That's where my registration, before you just make the move. You know, you tell the officer exactly what you're going to do ahead of time. Is that correct?
It's very appreciated on our aspect. That way there's
Communication.
Yeah,
That's
no?
it.
So,
Communication.
you know, I say, look, it's in my bag that's in the back seat or something. I have to go reach out into the back seat. So, you know, if you want to go get it, you can. The one thing I want to ask you about, and either one of you can answer, about tinted windows. I mean, I was getting stopped before I changed it now when I had my inspection. I took off the tinted. But I find tinted windows a protection for me, that no one could look in my car, a potential bandit, look in my car and see that I have something valuable that they would want to break in and steal. And I know from your point of view, law enforcement, you know, you want to be able to see inside the car. But, you know, never the twain shall meet, I guess, on this one. What's your thoughts
Well,
on
you
that?
still can have your back windows tinted.
I do.
It's just the the front compartment that can't be tinted. In fact, now I think that after this past year, it's part of an inspection.
Yes, that's
You have
why
to- yeah, you have to
January
have
was my
yeah.
inspection, and I took the
Yeah.
tints off, but
Yeah.
I would be getting stopped just for the tinted
Yeah.
windows. That it was-
Mark, you're a real criminal over here. You better look out. You got two
Well, you know,
policemen
just-
over here.
And
But-
good communication skills, though. He's going to tell you that
Yeah,
he's
that's
reaching
it.
into that.
Well, I just want,
How
the
about-
Yellow Dot program, you brought something to
I
show
brought
us.
the-
What is the Yellow Dot program about?
It's one of the programs that we offer through the New York State Sheriff's Association. And basically, it's a form that filled out with your medication, and this yellow dot is put on your rear window, so it lets emergency personnel know at the scene of an accident or situation that you do have your medical history in the vehicle.
What if someone's having a heart attack and
Right, you'd be
You know,
able to go in and see what medication they
You know,
have,
they
so.
stop at the side of
it's-
the road.
And there's also in the house on the refrigerator, you're supposed
We
to do
have,
something,
we
or-
have File of Life, it's similar to this.
Yeah.
That's a magnet that sticks right to your refrigerator with your medical history in there. And we tell people to make sure they update it because, you know, your medications will change or
No,
your
but there's
conditions
something
will
to,
change.
there's a certain place that you should always keep your medicines, or you write on there that where the medicines are
Where the
or
medicines
something?
are.
Yeah.
Because, and it's more so that they'll know what medications you're on in case they have to administer some type of drug
Right.
at the scene. But we always tell people to keep your prescription medication locked up. You know, a medicine cabinet is not a good place for your prescription medication
Really? I never heard
because,
that.
because if you have grandchildren or your grandchildren have friends over and they happen to want to obtain opiates, where are they going to look? They're going to look in your medicine cabinet. They're going to say, let me see what's in there. Most people keep them there. So we tell them, prescription drugs, you know, keep them locked up.
And what's the VINE program?
The VINE program is victim notification program, where people would be able to find out if somebody's in jail or when somebody's released from jail, they would get notified. And one of our correctional lieutenants, I believe it's Lieutenant Sauer, oversees that program. So
Okay, working well?
it is working well, I think.
Okay. All right, and can we have Garen come up on the
Yeah, we gotta
desk
say
again?
goodbye
so
to
we can-
we will
the
try to
the
get-
dog should say a few words
Can
over
he-
here.
Can he wave his paws?
Yeah, I know, it's our star guest here.
Here, up.
We have no.
That's it. Hey, Garen.
Well, wait a minute, show everybody that
It's
star,
there.
look at that, beauty dad, get it, all right.
Hop up.
Come on up, Garen. There you go.
Yeah, you'll be a star.
Good
We're
boy.
making
Good
you
boy,
a star
Gary.
with
Yeah.
Nancy. Who's this?
Good boy,
That's
yeah.
right, classy.
All right, thank you very much, Eric, you're
Thank
doing
you
an
very
excellent
much,
work,
Robert.
keeping
Thank you,
everybody
Mark.
Thank
safe,
you
very
and,
much for that.
Thank you.
you know, and friendly people too. I want to tell people that it's not only attack dogs and police with guns, but, you know, friendly police also, that's important.
If you want to do a tour of the jail, just get a hold of me. We'll show you what.
Mark would like to
what a
stay
good
there for a
facility.
month.
I will do that, just
Well,
don't
yeah,
lock me
okay,
in.
yeah, no. Yeah, I think you'll be impressed. Yeah, thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you very much.
Stay there, stay
All
there,
right.
stay, stay,
I'll-
stay.
I'll-